really like the eureka moment. In science, you work years, sometimes decades, doing experiments and they don't work. So we were trying to do this new therapeutic using oligonucleotides, and what we have to do is you infect mice and then you cure them. The experiment is simple: or you cure or you don't cure. And then we were in the animal facility. It was the moment just to see if the mice were fine or not. And when we realized that our therapy, that it was an idea that took us more than 10 years to make it to work, it was curing the mice. These are the momentums that the payoffs for every suffering during our academic careers or entrepreneurial activities, whatever. If you ask me what I enjoy the most is when you can see that an idea is working. This is amazing. Originally from Colombia, beautiful country. I'm a microbiologist by training, and then after I finished my career, I was very interested in how molecules they interact between each other, and I did a PhD program in bioengineering, focusing in biorecognition and how to make sensors and how to use enzymes, nucleic acids. After my PhD, I decided to learn how to use this knowledge, how to apply this to the clinic. So I moved to Denmark, where I had the opportunity to learn how to modify oligonucleotides for clinical applications. But at that point, everything was like in vitro, in the lab. And I decided to move to the States when I had the chance to learn how to use this technology in animal models, in infectious diseases and cancer in Iowa, in the University of Iowa. It was a great time because I had the time to put, my hands on, really try to see how this knowledge that I was getting for more than a decade was able to be useful to cure or to diagnose diseases. And in Iowa, when I was there, we make the discovery that probably is one of the things that is still, amazing for me, that we can identify specific biomarkers and diagnose and treat disease in a different way. And since then, 15 years after that, I'm still working on that idea. And now I'm associate professor at Linköping University, where I have my group, and I'm developing this technology further.
We have found this very challenging. So one thing is having a problem, one thing is trying to find a solution that matters everyone. And try to solve a problem that makes solving it will make the life of people better. So it's a very challenging process and requires so much time, dedication, motivation. What gave you the green light, the energy to say, okay, let me take this very challenging path?
Well, I mean, this is a very difficult question. I mean, I would say that it's challenging, painful, so many other things. But I will tell you my experience. I consider myself very lucky because I'm doing what I love the most. So I wouldn't. I don't imagine myself doing anything else than what I'm doing. So and in the academia, when you get to a point that publishing papers or getting grants is good. I mean, you have the recognition, and this is great. But sometimes you realize that, or in my case, that there isn't a step that you have, there is a gap there between academia and make everything to happen, to go back to the society, right? I mean, in the academia, you can teach, to give something of your knowledge to the society. But I believe that we can do a little bit more. And all this money that is invested in us, can go to the society in form of products, methods that can help, the way that the things are doing there. And who else is going to do this job if it's not us that we have been investing all our lives, studying new things. And so I think that the motivation comes from that moment when you realize that it's too good to just leave it in a drawer. And then the option is, or you find someone that you can license your patent, which is very difficult, even and nowadays even more difficult just to patent to license an idea. This is could happen, but it's difficult. Or you take care of this and you make a company and try to make a product that, if it's successful, is going to be great for the society because you're going to create jobs, you're going to develop new technology on the way, you're going to have the possibility to create a team with different skills. So I think that is a win-win situation, and I think the society is moving into this. They want to see, after they're investing in academia, what or how we can transfer. I mean, COVID situation, it was a great opportunity, but it's one of those. This is not happening all the time, right? But the society really appreciate that. But I think that, coming back to your question, what is the real motivation there? Because you're right. I mean, it's challenging, that compromise your personal life. Sometimes it's painful. You feel lonely. There are so many things. But what it is that possibility, that we have to transfer our knowledge to the society.
It's true that there is such a huge misalignment between the academics and the real world. Many times, very great ideas, very great study, very great research, they can be translated in something good for a society. They will still remain on paper or whatever it is in the digital world. But so people like you, they're trying to migrate from the talk to the facts. It makes a lot of sense. Uh, how was the feeling when you decided, okay, let me take this very challenging path? Did you feel scared? Because being academic and being entrepreneur, it's very different story.
It's, it's, it's a totally different story. I mean, you don't imagine how much time took me to understand that my role of scientist is not good enough to talk to investors, for example. It's a totally different life, I mean, and I always describe it in this way. One thing is to ask money to a foundation, someone that is going to give you a grant. Something else is to ask to somebody for the pocket money. So you are asking for the money. That person is going to remember that they give you that money forever until they are going to get more or something is going to happen. So the kind of commitment is different, right? I think that in the academia we have this freedom, to study whatever we want. And when you are trying to do a product, is what is up. I mean, it's useful for the users, or has a market need, So you are the constraint is the need of the product that you can solve a real problem, not a problem, theoretical problem, right? So I would say that, it's amazing how you can change your mentality when you're trying to create a company or develop products, because that make you to be a little bit more careful when you are, writing the grants. I mean, always trying to look for the angle of how you can transfer this into products, and that happened to me. So I don't know, how, but for me, I believe that, at least in my case, make me a better researcher, because now I always, in everything that I'm doing in my lab, every single thing, I'm looking for the angle where I can translate this into products.
Hey, where did you find the main struggles when you moved to being entrepreneur from being academic?
Well, the first thing I think that I'm being honest here is like, you know, in science is the game is about to prove that you're right? So what you have to do is try to get a set of observations, make a conclusion, pack it in a nice way, and try to publish in the best journal you can get. When it's about the entrepreneurship, entrepreneur, is about to be right for the investors, to be right for the market. And this silly concept, sometimes it's taking a little bit of time for us to understand that it's not the vision of the evidence, is what really can solve the problem. Because innovation and someone in the academia is something that is disruptive, something that is new, something. But innovation in the market is something that solves better a problem. Sometimes you don't need to create this massive, innovation. What you need is to solve the problem. It's simple, actually. But even that is simple, I now understand. I'm trying to make this simple for everybody that asks me about it. It's difficult. I mean, it's change the way that you're thinking. And sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's easy for other people. In my case, took me, some time to understand that I cannot be the scientist when I'm trying to create a product. And that was exciting for me. I mean, to learn and to identify these things that I didn't have, and now I think that I'm working on them to try to be better. But yeah, I mean, that's for me the main difference.
There are two very different way how to achieve things, how to actually how to confront things and present them. It's very totally if you're right. But be a founder. How did it impact your life in a bad and a good way?
I mean, I think that depending on the moment, you can but overall I think that it was an amazing feeling. It's it's something that you cannot describe with anything in the academia, at least for me. Because for example, in the academia you have a group, right? So you are leading, you have your group, you need to have people that you need to be careful about how the personal development, that everybody is happy, that that you have an atmosphere that is. But that's good because you are in an umbrella, right? I mean, that doesn't matter what, as long as you can get grants and papers, everything is going to be all right, more or less. When you are a founder, you need to convince someone about your vision, and it's more risky because you don't have the umbrella that is called university grants or anything sometimes. So it's about that you believe that that science that you're doing can solve a problem. But not only this, you need to convince somebody, and normally this somebody is a lot of people along the way, that this is possible. And what I think that the most amazing thing is when you can find people that really can align with the vision of a founder. I think that this is the most beautiful thing that someone can experience. I mean, because it's like when you really feel that there is a team, that it can give you time, you know, sweat, blood, for a cause, for a this is really really amazing. And obviously in these startups you have the time to be more yourself. When you are into the academia, obviously there is a structure there. There is the university or the centers, but the startup is your vision and how you want to do this. So you have the freedom to be more yourself, and that this could be good or bad for everybody that's working with you, right? I don't know. But what I'm telling you is that when the things go well, and you feel that there are people working an idea and they take the idea like themselves, that it's not just your idea only, it's the idea of this group of people. That feeling is amazing. So um, there are other things, obviously, when you have this milestone that you are seeing that there is progress, it is great. Almost in any startup you will have moments where things are not going well, and then you have to act on it, and also difficult for me. Sometimes I was feeling a little bit lonely, in the way that when you have to you know take decisions that they are not what you like the most. But I think that at the end for me has been a very positive journey, and if you ask me if it's a positive or negative thing for me, I think that helped me in two ways. One, in my career, because I think I am a better researcher now than before, and in my personal life as well, because show me a lot of values that I know that they were there, but sometimes you experience in a bigger magnitude, in a way that is more easy to feel it, like when you have trust, when you trust in somebody else that is not you, that in academia sometimes is difficult. So this is great. So in my case, positive.
Be a founder is a lonely place. There is nothing to do. Challenging one because you are the one who's going to make all the decisions at the very beginning, and everything comes to you, the bad and good, mostly the bad. And but it is the beauty, as you say, to be a founder is the freedom. You are not living in a hierarchy where everything is structured. You just must work inside, or you can go wherever you like. I describe founders like artists. So they can paint in a very blind, sorry, in a very white page, and you can start writing your story. It's very different way to go. I totally agree. Uh, do you have any routine in your daily life that keeps you in balance in somehow?
Well, to be honest, I mean the routine that I have, I like to read. I like to read a lot, mostly science. I don't think, and I really enjoy that. I'm trying to do a little bit of exercise, when it's possible. But I don't have a clear routine, like, not really. I mean, it's for me is very natural, I like to bike to my office and enjoy what is happening and prepare for how long it's going to be the day that day. And I just take it day by day. I mean, I don't have a real routine, because everything changed depending of what activities I'm doing is academia or is about the company. So I don't have a real routine in my case.
Well, in your journey to be a founder, there are so many up and down, the highs and the lows every day in the life of a founder. Have you ever thought, I'm not qualified enough? It's better if I go back to be, not just because researchers are one of the most beautiful things we have in life, academics, but maybe I'm not fit enough in this role, or you are very strongly self-confident you can do it without any doubts.
I think that there are moments that you have some doubts. I mean, that's probably normal for everybody. But in my case, I'm convinced about something. I am convinced that now. I mean, I'm convinced that there's no reason for me to do science if I don't try to translate this into product or services or anything, right? So, like, I have this core belief. For me, it's easy to know that this is another the step that is required to do. I mean, that I need to do to be able to feel that my work is complete. So if now, maybe before, if the question would be, 15 years ago, I would say, you know what? No, I don't need that. I want to have cool papers published in very prestigious journals, and with this, I will be happy and my life will be complete. But it's like when you have a baby, right? For me, is there's no way back. So I don't have this option anymore. So maybe I would like to have it. Maybe I will be more. I mean, more happy. I don't know. But for me, if I don't do it, I know that it exists, that it's there, and it's living. I mean, I can see how many others founders that are doing great job, translating science, creating new things. So for me, I don't have that. I don't think in that way. I just think that this an additional part that has to be done at some point.
What do you enjoy the most in what you're doing in your in day-to-day life? I mean, while you're working, which are the main topics, part of your business that you really like, you enjoy to do?
Well, I will tell you, in science, you work years, sometimes decades, doing experiments and they don't work. I really like the eureka moment, right? So I will tell you something about eureka moment that I got recently. Recently, a couple of years ago. Um, so we were trying to do this new therapeutic using oligonucleotides, and what we have to do is you infect mice and then you cure them. So the experiment is simple: or you cure or you don't cure. And then when we were in the animal facility, and we it was the moment just to see if the mice were fine or not. And when we realized that our therapy, that it was an idea that took us more than 10 years to make it to work, it was curing the mice clearly. These are the momentums that make, or the payoffs for every suffering during our academic careers, or our entrepreneurial activities, whatever. So if you ask me what I enjoy the most, is when you can see that an idea is working. This is amazing. And the other aspect that I really like is when you see that you help somebody. I mean, when you see that, or I mentioned this before, when you see that someone is a team member, is working for the team in a way that is better than even yourself, because I think that at the end, any CEO, any founder, what you need to have is try to have this talent to attract talent. You cannot do it alone. I mean, someone that's going to say that can do it alone is something that is not big. So you need, and when you see that you can attract people that are very good, this is a great feeling, that to have a team that is working, that you see that they are growing, not just because following instruction, no, that you see that they are growing in a way that is better than anything that you can plan. So when you see these two things, for me, to see that an idea is working properly, or when you see that your team members are growing, is fantastic. So this is are the two things that I really enjoy of doing these things.
How do you keep yourself motivated? Be a founder, you need to have strong resilience and very strong motivation. How do you feed your resilience and motivation?
It's about resistance. I mean, I think that you can measure how successful or how good is an idea based on for how long this idea is used. So if you still can have funding, investing, I mean, investors for an idea, this that means that your idea is good. So for me, as long as I think that the idea is good, I will do, everything that is in my power, and in trying to convince a lot of whoever I have to convince that the idea is worth it. And I think that's the most important thing. I mean, you need to do something that you really believe. So for me, it's easy if I believe that it's worth it. Otherwise, it's very difficult. I mean, you have to do two jobs. One is doing the job, and then to convince yourself that it's worth it. So I don't want to do double job in that scenario. So simple. I need to believe that it's working.
That's true. I mean, you have to have very full believing in yourself and what you're doing. Uh, do you think about failure? What's your relationship with maybe I will fail?
That's the problem when you try to define failure, right? Because what is failure? I mean, that the product didn't make to the market and didn't get the millions that you're supposed to get. I think that I mean, there are products I mean, there are different metrics for failure, right? So for me, as long as we're doing everything that we believe that is right, and we advance the product, is I mean, the company could die sometimes. We're in a risk. First of all, we need to understand that we're in a risky business. It's not that every startup is going to get millions. This is not going to happen, right? So you need to understand the game that you're playing. So for me, as long as we are doing the things at our higher capacity, as long as we can do it, that's that we are winning. If something happened in the process and this is not happening, that's failure. And probably doesn't matter if you have a successful product, at some point the company is not going to make it. So for me, when I think about failure, if I will think about failure in the metrics of money, only 5% of the companies can really make a profit, and only like 2 or 3% really make like a unicorn that matters a lot of. So if I believe in that metrics that is only about failure measured by money, that would be very crazy deal, right? I mean, you are going in a business that only 1% is gonna make it, so it's kind of crazy. But I think that there are a lot of ways to measure if you feel comfortable with what you're doing or not. So I'm still working on that. I know that in the business, what measure is the profit that you can do, and that has to be done, right? I mean, you have to get some profit, but at the same time, to measure failure only on terms of if it's working or not, there is some gray zones that I would say.
What do you like to do when you have free time, spare time, and outside your business?
Well, I mean, I have family, right? So my kids, they are this part of my life that keep me in balance, as so spend time with Dennis is fantastic, just to learn how, my biggest experiment in life is I have two experiments running, and they're amazing, just to see them, how they're growing, how they are getting their own personality, and everything is amazing. We are living in a beautiful country in Spain. I mean, my family is living in Spain. I'm traveling from Sweden and Spain continuously, and that makes these moments even more valuable for me. So enjoy life with them is fantastic. So, but I like hiking. Is just to walk around, beautiful mountains that we have there in Basque Country is amazing. I would say that this, quality time with my family and hiking.
You are involved in venture capital now, startups, talking to investors, talking to other founders. How do you see the tech ecosystem today? Do you think technology it's adopted in a right way? Do you think that we are doing enough, or there is too much more to be done to make this world a better place?
Well, I think to answer this in a general way is a little bit difficult because there are geographic differences that are clearly, you cannot take this, you cannot answer this question without having into consideration the place where the technology is being developed. States has a mentality in which velocity is important, and the amount of money that they have there is different. They play a different game. In Europe, let's say that we are more conservative. But we are in the long term. We have more time to develop things sometimes. But what I'm saying is that um, technology has been there for a long time. I don't think that the value of technology has been reached to the point that we really um, think about it, right? Because let's say that we have very short memory as humans, So the example again, the COVID-19, it was a great example when everybody was thinking that scientists, they were very, you know, fashionable. They were very cool people and everything. I mean, they were around fashion, everything. But with time, they go back to the reality, right? After 2 years, and now, I think that will be great when a society really value science and innovation. And this is easy to measure because every country make an investment on that. So what I believe at the end is that whatever country that is going to believe that innovation is the way is going to be the country that's going to lead this planet at some point. So I don't know. Sometimes for me, it's very difficult to understand why we don't invest more than what we're doing right now, because that's the way to evolve societies and everything. I think that we're in the right way. I mean, I think that there are a lot of initiatives out there that help people to understand how to get into innovation. Uh, 20 years ago, when I was doing my PhD, it was no opportunities or few opportunities to be an entrepreneur and have your own company. Now it's different. So I think that we are in the right direction. I think that there are a lot of things to do depending on the places, but I'm positive. I think that it's getting better.
We are there. We have so much technology to be used now. Of course, we need to find the right way to use it. Sometimes humans are a bit weird how we can get so wrong in a very easy way. But yeah, we have all the tools that now are at our disposal to enhance and to make really huge and positive change in this world. If you can be sitting in a round table with world leaders and you can ask them to change something, what would you like to change in this current society that for you does not work at all?
You know, I think that sometimes if we are expecting that the change is coming from the top, never is going to happen. So even if I need stable, nothing is going to change. Then they are going home and nothing is going to happen. I think that something that will change is how we see each other regarding our differences, right? And I will tell you on a clear example. And I'm coming back to COVID-19 because I believe that was a great opportunity for the humanity to work together to do something, right? So we got on a disease that what was important is that everybody will be vaccinated, not that some people will be vaccinated. And I thought, okay, this is when science, politicians, everybody will work together to do something good. And what happened is that again, the rich countries they got vaccinated first, and then the poor countries at the end with whatever vaccine that was the leftovers. So what I think that is missing, what I think that is missing is that we understand that we are in one planet. It's one planet, and that we can share some of the resources, we can share some of the opportunities, and nothing happens. So, and for me, to see, I mean, one example is the academic community. Normally, we share knowledge, we share things, and this is a great way to interact with others. So it's very difficult to identify what is the missing piece in this society. But for me, will be to recognize each other like someone that can do something with value, and I believe that this has to come not from the top, because otherwise what is not done yet, right? I mean, already, has to be something that we need to build up little by little from the base, and that will be, I mean, education, obviously. What would be the best thing that you can give to any human being in this planet is education. So it will be one which that I could have is that everybody can have the opportunity to be educated. And with this base, maybe we can change things.
Are you concerned about climate change?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is, have you seen this movie, Look Up? That they say that is this rock that is coming to destroy the planet, and they didn't believe it. There are people, I mean, it was there, right? And they didn't believe it until the planet was destroyed. I mean, I think that is coming. I mean, it's not about if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, when it's going to hit us in a way that is going to change our way of living. So it's sometimes it's very sad to know that the information is misleading, that there are lobbies trying to do or mislead the population just for economical interests. it's an issue that we need to face this. I mean, we are destroying this planet. I mean, the evidence is there. I mean, and it's so sad that we are not united for this. That's again, it's about that we don't. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of smart people out there, but you know, no one find out the way how to unite us, for specific problems. And climate change is, if not the biggest one, is one of those that in the short term is gonna affect us in a significant way.
I totally agree. Which are the things that really matters to you in life and you are willing to fight for?
Do you know what? Do you imagine a place? I mean, where everybody is working on what that people really love to do, you know? So it's funny because sometimes when I say I love what I'm doing, they say you're lucky, right? And for me, sometimes I think, I mean, no, it's not luck. I mean, this is what everybody should experience, that after you finish your work, you're happy of doing your work and you go home and have good time with your family. So I would like to imagine a place where more people, no, I wouldn't say everybody, but more people, that the majority of the population is happy um, working in what they really love. So that's, I will fight for this. So I will, I clearly that will be, is something that I always try to talk with my family about, my kids, that they really need to find a way that is, this spark, that you get up and you feel energized just because you know that you're going to do a little bit more that day for this cause that you decided that is the thing that you love the most. So absolutely, I will fight for that.
The best book and movie.
Oh, my best book. Okay, I have so many different categories, but recently there is one that is Sapiens, that you know it's a very popular book because described in a clear way and kind of scientific way. I mean, there are things that I not agree totally, but this is a nice book and describe the story of us, how we become what we are, and what are our options, and so it was very nice. So I'm Colombian, and for me, literature was very important in my life. So I have to say another book because this is very, and it's the Love in Cholera Times from Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I mean, this book changed my way to think about literature, and show me the way to enjoy reading. And about movies, I would say, I mean, maybe it's very old fashioned one. uh, Pulp Fiction, it was one movie that when it was there really was totally different and unexpected for me, and I really enjoyed that one. I still sometimes I watch it. And in the other gender, The Big Lebowski, that is really funny one. So I would say that these are my favorite ones.
I mean, you've been through a lot already in your life. What's the best lesson life gave to you?
I would say that, look at this. I mean, that the best way to deal with any human being is to trust, to trust on somebody. That feeling is amazing. And what is happening nowadays is that we lost that. I mean, we in some places, it's very difficult to trust somebody without having a relationship that you know for a long time and everything. So I've been living in so many different countries, different cultures, and everything. And I think that when this is missing, when you don't trust the other, for whatever reason it is, and I don't want to describe what are the reasons, but that makes the life a little bit harder. I mean, So what I learned is that I really want to be in places when I feel that there is an environment where we trust each other, and that we are willing to do things for the society. One thing that Sweden taught me is that it's a beautiful thing about Sweden, and it's like this capability to think about society, you know. Antibiotic resistant here, which is a critical aspect, they they deal together with that. I mean, they don't get the antibiotic until it's really necessary. You if your son is or your daughter is sick and has fever, they wait 3 days until giving you something, right? So you need to trust this, and the society has to be together on this to this to happen, because you say, okay, let's do it, but when it's your kid, you want the antibiotic as soon as possible because you want that reduce to see if there's anything that you can prevent, right? So I think that when you trust your peers, when you trust your community, when you trust, it's a good way to have a life in which you can develop your personality, and try to be a little bit more um, focused in what is really important. So it's something I learned all this time, is that doesn't matter what you are, try to find an environment when you trust the people around you and they trust what you're doing there too.
Trust is what makes our life, correct? What's your greatest wish for you, your family, and the world as a whole?
Wow, I mean, starting from my family, I mean, I think that we mentioned this here. I mean, for my family, we just need, I mean, my wish is that we are gonna be healthy, and that my kids, they're gonna do whatever they really want to do in life, that they have the chance to do this. As an a species, I would like I would like to see if at some point, imagine that any kid in this planet, you love it. I mean, you can love it at the same time that you love your own kids. It's impossible to think about it, and even for me, is I cannot, for my mental structure, or in the way that I've been raised, and for me, there is a distinction between my kids and other kids, and I think that when that change, when you see that any other kid is part of our species, and that we need to take care of them, maybe at that point we're going to be a better society, right? So my wish is just that, let's try to take care of the kids, doesn't matter to who belongs, I mean, like, that would be a great way to demonstrate that we are humans, and connecting with the best book, that this sapient thing, I think that only when we really start to think like a species, when we start to think like, or to take seriously the real problems in a unified way, like climate change, is when we will have a chance to survive for a little bit longer.
I mean, kids are must be our priority, very much what we need to think and act in the first place. Must be protected any possible extent. I mean, I'm completely with you, totally. Without any form of extension, any. If you can recommend something to all the founders watching this podcast today and in the coming days, what would you like to recommend them to the founders?
The first thing for me is this, it's an adventure that is going to have ups and downs. You need to identify the battles that you want to fight, and you need to go for that thing that really motivates you. That if you identify one thing for which you are willing to do whatever it takes, do it at your higher capability, as long as is needed. I think that you have the right company right there, and you should just go for it. And when someone is saying no, that this is not the momentum, this is not the company, this is not the market condition, this is, but you really believe, you have this inside you. I The only thing that you have to think is that this is just an opinion, because if you are convinced, it is possible. It is possible. So my advice is just you need to look for what you are willing to give up things and really to dedicate part of your life, and that's it.
Right. Thank you so much for coming to the Lab Founder. It's been an absolute pleasure for me. Thank you.
No, Max, thank you. It was a pleasure to be here, and it was great. I really have a very good time here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.